Hey, I'm Khalila McCoy, and this is the show where we face the hard things with honesty and hope. This is Where We Rise. Today, it is my privilege to share my conversation with Allaina Maria. She begins this episode by honoring her older sister, Yolanda, a woman whose life was taken due to domestic violence. In our conversation, you'll hear a brief description of what happened that day. What is shared is information you could easily find online if you search for the incident. But what you won't find in those articles is how deeply Allaina Maria loves her sister. You won't read about the precious moments Yolanda shared with her siblings, or how incredible her cooking was, or the real and raw emotions of a baby sister left to rebuild after losing her. That is what we are hearing today. Not even 2 years removed from that horrible day, Allaina Maria sits with us to share who Yolanda truly was, beyond the headlines, beyond the tragedy, and to open our eyes to the pain of having someone you love taken by violence. Let's listen. How are you today?
I am doing great. How are you?
Good. Welcome to the show. I want to start today by saying thank you for being here and trusting me with such an important conversation. Today, we're going to honor your sister, Yolanda, and she was taken from this world unexpectedly and because of violence. And if we were to read the headline in the news, as someone who doesn't know her, I would read it, I would see it, and then unfortunately, I would move on, right? And I would forget about the situation. But I understand, and as we all do, for the people who loved her, their lives were shaped by her. This is not something that they're just forgetting, and their lives are forever changed. So I'm grateful that we get a chance to talk about Yolanda, about who she was beyond what happened to her. So, for those of us who never got to meet her, please share with us about who she was.
So Yolanda, just before I get started, I just want to say it's always a pleasure and a joy to even mention her name because she
Mm-hmm.
was such a wonderful, bright light in this world. I was so blessed and lucky to have her as my big sister. A lot of people have the horror stories. Oh, my sister. No, no, no. She was an amazing woman. My mother she birthed 3 children, but she raised many. But
Mm-hmm.
she birthed Yolanda, the middle child, Shauna, and then myself, Allaina, the three of us. And Yolanda was always my protector from day one. I can't even remember a time that we have had an argument. And
Oh,
that's
wow.
just the honest, she was the gentlest, kindest, sweetest, nicest person that you could ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know, there's some people in the world you meet them, you just like, oh my God, like where you from? You're like otherworldly. Like, why are you what are you
Amazing.
doing here? Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? What you got going on? Why are you so magical or whatever? You know, what's
Yes.
up with your aura that you drawn to them?
Mm-hmm.
And that was my sister. Aesthetically, she was a beautiful woman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She was just naturally gorgeous, freckle face, little tiny, little slim, petite little something who
Yeah.
dressed.
Aw.
She dressed and dressed and dressed. You hear me? Nails
Yes.
done, hair done, just a beautiful woman. But outside of that, when you would look at her, you would like, oh my gosh, she's so gorgeous. But when you would talk to her, you'd be like, oh my gosh, she's even more beautiful. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So she
Yeah.
was just a wonderful light. Like I said, a beautiful sister growing up. She was my protector. There was nothing I ever needed or wanted. She was right there for me and my middle sister as well. Let's be clear, she was good to all of us, but just
Mhm.
speaking specifically from my experience,
Right.
she was a great mother. She had 5 wonderful children.
Wow.
Um, 4 boys and a girl. One girl, she
Okay.
finally got her girl, and her name was Patience. And she tested her patience too, so they named her prophetically. Oh, did they ever name her prophetically?
Yeah.
But yeah, so Yolanda was an awesome cook. I
Mhm.
mean, the mantle was passed down naturally from my great grandma, my grandma, my mom to my sister. Those girls can burn, and
Mhm.
she was, right up there, with the upper echelon of the cooks in our family. Like I said, she worked in social services, so she provided, on her daily life, even though she was going through so much turmoil, stress, struggles at home in an abusive marriage. But when she went to work from 8 to 5, she was serving the community.
Mm.
She was making sure people didn't go homeless, providing services. She would actually recently she had started in Bunnell, Florida. It's a small town where she was living. That's what
Okay.
my grandma, but in the small town, it's a carver gym. And she started a program once a month where people from her job would come and provide resources to the community,
Wow.
first of its kind. And as a result, when they did it again, they named it after her in her honor. And that was not too long ago. And they also had a little banquet, invited my mom, provided her with a plaque. I mean, she was a trailblazer. And once she transitioned, and when we had her funeral, it was in a very huge church. And when I tell you it was standing room only, people, black, white, Hispanic, like
She
across
touched
the board,
everybody.
all of the different people she touched and ministered to in her own way. And people were just devastated because when you meet her, like I said, that light, you had to love her. You would have
Mhm.
never known she went home to what she went home to. You
Right.
would never know because she always showed up. Sometimes you hear stories about people who are in abusive relationships, they shy away, they look that,
Right.
those signs where you're like, okay,
You
something's
can
going on
tell,
there.
right.
Yeah, she always showed up as her authentic self because she was saying, if I have to go home to trauma, at least when I wake up in the morning, I can help heal others, you know? Yeah, so she was a true gem. And I said at her funeral, when me and my sister spoke, I would choose you every lifetime to be my sister. She was good. She was good stock.
Do you
She
have
was
a
good stock.
specific story or memory of her that plays over the most in your mind?
Oh yeah, my middle sister Shauna's gonna get me, but me and Shauna, um, I was in the living room and I don't know what my sister was something else, and
Mhm.
she would always pick on me for whatever reason. I was the younger sister, so whatever,
Okay, yes.
doing that dynamic. And one time, my sister Yolanda, she was like, "That's enough.
Mhm.
Leave her alone." Like she just was like, took her and hey, leave my sister alone. And I was like, "That's right. That's right. That's."
Yes.
That was that lot my love it. When someone as a child, you think about like that woman who came around, like your mother's friend or your auntie that always had their hair done and makeup done, and you
Yes.
just every time you see them, you're like,
I wanna
you're
be
so
like you. Yeah.
absolutely. And my sister was my hero because she always stood up for me. And
Mhm.
so that story is that's one of the many times, but she would always tell my sister, "Hey, you better back off." You know
Right.
what I mean? So she was, like I said, my protector, and I mean that in every single way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, so
she's
she
super good.
was big in your life, big in the family, in the community. That's really amazing that she was really giving of herself.
Absolutely. I left this out and I don't know how, but this was a big thing. Every Halloween,
Mhm.
she would come out, decorate her porch, have food they would have grilled hot dogs, hamburgers, free candy, cupcakes. She would make this thing called chicken soup. It had a little rice chicken in it.
Uh-huh.
Um, the community would come together and they would give away whole size candy bars. And
Oh,
the
nice.
whole block would come and just hang out at my sister's house and with the
Wow.
kids, and they would have relay races up and down the street. And every single year she looked forward to Halloween.
Yeah.
And she was also a cat lady, so, like, the community cats, they would come to the it's like, "Girl, oh my god." Anyway,
So she loved all God's creatures.
uh, she was something else, but she was feed the little community cats. But, back to the Halloween thing, last year, they had the Halloween, thing at her house 'cause, the home she was living in was my grandmother's home, and so my
Okay.
grandmother it's a family house, and so my sister was the oldest grandchild, my mother was the oldest of 8, my sister
Mhm.
was the first, so she moved in, and then once my, sister passed away, my cousin moved into the home, and,
Okay.
so they continued the tradition with the Halloween party at the house. Unfortunately, myself, my mom, the kids, we did not go because my mom just, was not in a place to be able to be
Right.
okay because she was murdered in front of her house.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, so,
So that
the
place holds that dark memory now.
absolutely, and,
Yeah.
the children he did it in front of my youngest nephew as well, and the other kids were in the house. So the amount of trauma that came behind that situation was unreal. She was simply going to work, and
Mm.
he pulled in behind her, got an argument, grabbed a knife, and, stabbed her 18 times in front of my nephew.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
so sorry.
absolutely. So, uh it is a lot, but
Yeah.
like I said, we can't undo what happened to her, but I can
Right.
tell you her light shines so bright. They had the Martin Luther King parade recently in Bunnell. My mom
Mhm.
came up, they honored her with a plaque. You see what I'm saying? So her legacy is
Still
still
moving on.
still
Yes.
moving on. Yeah, so that's just a glimpse into this beautiful light, you know what I mean? She was
Yeah.
amazing.
Were
Mhm.
there some stories that you heard at the funeral that kind of not surprised you in like in a negative way or anything, but you're just like, "Oh yeah, that's my sister," but you didn't know she was involved in maybe?
Oh, almost all of them because a lot of people in the I knew she worked in social work, but I don't work with her. I don't know how many people she come in contact with on a daily basis. And so to hear the people to see, first of all, seeing was believing.
Mhm.
Grief is a mess. The way
Yes.
these people were grieving, it was moments where I had to stop and look because they had to come and grab some people to you know, withhold their
Console
grief,
them.
like, to
Yeah.
console them, and I'm like, "Oh my god." So, not only what they said, is what I saw. People just couldn't believe this wonderful vessel is laying in this beautiful candy red casket in this gold sequence
Mhm.
dress, and I said to myself, "Now how you go out of here fine? What are you doing in there? What are you doing? What? Doing, honey?" Yeah, serving people,
Yes.
makeup, we made sure to honor her as she was,
Mhm.
Um, young lady who does my makeup, Deja Dowdy, wonderful makeup artist, came and made her be herself.
Yes.
Um, the week before her transition, I do a lot of things. I'm a motivational speaker. I've written books. I'm an actress. And that week before she transitioned, we went to um, Chicago. I had to speak, which was actually her birthday. July 24th was the actual day of the engagement.
Okay.
And we all went up together. And she was like, "You got to do my hair. You got." So I was like, "Fine, I'll do your hair." And
Mhm.
so in the casket, she still had that same hairstyle. And I was
Oh,
like,
that's
"That's right. I
wonderful.
did that for my sister."
Yes.
And so even the picture that was on the front of her obituary is the same hair because, like I said, we had just gotten back from Chicago, and that next week, her and my aunt are 1 week apart. We was
Mhm.
in Chicago 1 week celebrating, and my auntie's 60th birthday the next Saturday. 2 days later, you know.
Yeah. I love just I can see you, right? And I can see you lighting up as you talk about your sister. And then even at the funeral, like that sense of pride of like my sister has helped so many people, has done so many things. Now that she's gone, how do you feel like you want to carry on her legacy?
Oh, man. Like I said, I'm a motivational speaker myself. Now I will say at first I had to take a break. I had to step back because I had no strength to motivate nobody because I was grieving like a madman.
Yes.
Everything I love was in one place trying to figure out how to go on. Right?
Mhm.
Her children, my mother, my sister,
Yeah.
her best friend. So I took a step back from that side of me. But I had to remember that my sister was my greatest champion. Every
Mm.
book until she left, every book I wrote, she edited.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that
That's
so that was
huge.
my yeah, that's what I'm trying. I can't convey it enough. I don't know if it's coming across in my voice, but that truly was my champion. When I'm
Yes.
traveling, what time you leaving? Where you at? If I make a Facebook post, oh, you spelled that wrong. Get that off of it. Like you know what I mean? Represent
Yes.
yourself the best. She did not play about her baby sister.
Yeah, that's
So
beautiful.
once I got my bearings and was able to start moving forward again, um, I remember my sister in everything that I do. and her legacy and her demand for excellence and how she supported me. And I remember how she was a champion for the community. I make sure my mother makes sure that we in turn continue her legacy and don't just let her name, go in vain. It's an impossibility for us. I coined a phrase that I refuse to give the grave any of my potential. And I
Mm.
coined that after my uncle passed away. And, now that my sister is gone, I regurgitated that. "Allaina, you're hurting, but you cannot give the grave any of your potential." You see what I'm saying? My sister would not have wanted that. Her journey was over, my journey is not.
Right.
And she's rooting for me with the cloud of witnesses right now saying, "You better
Right.
not stop. I'm not here
Mhm.
physically, but I'm still here. We share the same DNA. I am just no longer in the physical. I'm still in the spiritual form, rooting for you and pushing for you." So, yeah.
Let's go back a little bit to your grief. You talked
Mhm.
about how you had to step away for a while
Yeah.
after you found out what happened. Walk us through what that was like for you.
Oh boy. Well, I literally was on a movie set down in Miami. I'm like, I'm doing my big one. This is one of my
Right.
bigger sets. I'm growing up.
Mhm.
Hey, they see my talent. And, my nephew calls. I had just walked out of the trailer and was going to the breakfast area to, get a little bagel or whatever they had over there. And my
Mhm.
nephew called, and it was, like, early in the morning. I'm like, "What did he want? Wait, what are you doing?" I'm like, "What's up, Jace?" And he was like, "Auntie, auntie." And, he told me what was happening. I'm like, "Wait, say who did what now? Who did what?" So I'm 4 hours away. I'm down in Miami. My family's in Central Florida.
Mhm.
Um, and she was alive, but injured, but still alive. And so when I finally talked to my mom, I was like, "Mom, I'm on the way." And my mom was like, "Don't you dare move. We're here. You stay right there." Because that morning I texted him, I made it her reply, "I'm so proud of you, sis." That was the last thing she said to me that morning. Okay. And my mom was like, "Don't you move. You stay right there. You finish out your set. We will call you. We're here." And I was like, "Mom, I need to come home." She said, "Allaina, don't you move. We are here. We'll call you." Said, "Okay." Stayed on set, kept when you're filming, you're not on your phone, you're filming. And then so I
Right.
went to check my phone and nobody had text, call, email. That's when I knew. I said, "Nobody's talking to me.
Mm.
Nobody's talking to me. Nobody's giving me an update." So I called, nobody's answering the phone. I called my
Oh
cousin,
my
she
goodness.
answers, and I was like, "Kim, what's going on?" She said, "You need to get home." I said, "But is my sister gone? You need to get home." Now I'm frantic. "Don't play with me.
Yes,
It's
just
my
tell
like, don't
me.
play these games." And she said, "Yeah, the scream that
Oh.
the kids say, the scream that I scrumped."
Yes.
That's how the scream that I scrumped. Oh my God.
Yes.
I I I felt like I had been hit with a whip on my back. Like I can't explain the jolt that went through me. It was unreal. And where we were, I couldn't just walk off set. They drove us on set in the black truck, so they had to they had to release us, and then the cast got in the trucks, and then they drove us back to our car. So I couldn't just walk off the set. So I'm sitting there trying to hold it together, finishing up what these people contracted me to do. My trying not to cry. When they finally let me go, I told the lady what happened. They was just like, "Oh my God," they were very sympathetic. I got in my car and I floated down 95, going
Mhm.
95 north, getting to my sister. We went to my aunt's house, and like I
What
say,
was
I
going
got
through
there.
your head on during that drive? Do you remember? Were you
Oh, I was screaming and hollering straight down the interstate. I don't know how I didn't crash. You see what I'm saying? And I do distinctly remember I called my children's father. We're no longer together, but we have a great relationship. I
Mhm.
called him, because he was in my life for how many years, you know?
Mhm.
"Hey, Yolanda is gone." And he's like, "Say what?" And his sister, LaShawn, was there. And the way I was screaming, she was like, "Allaina, pull the car over. George and I are on the way to get you. We'll ride together and I'll drive you." I was like, "No,
Mhm.
I can't wait for you to get." You ever had an auto, like you're on autopilot. Like
Yes, I know what you
I was
mean.
I was in Miami and then I was in Daytona. I mean, Palm Coast. I was in Miami and I was in some of the hours. I don't know what happened.
Right.
It's like, Men in Black.
You just
All I
woke
know,
up and you're there. Yeah.
yes. And that call time that morning was extremely early for that film. And so I was beat. But
Mm,
I felt none of that. I
wow.
got there, my entire family was there. My mom, the person I love more than myself, is there just tattered and that look on her face. I didn't know what to, her children, my siblings, my aunt, all of my extended family, even my in-laws, her in-laws, even his family was around. And this isn't talked about much, but even though they didn't do it, I felt some type of way about them.
Mhm.
They didn't deserve it. They
Right.
didn't support it. They were not okay with it, but they all looked like him. And seeing them around, you know what I mean?
Right. I get that.
Yeah. So people they don't talk about, you just think about, oh, these people are hurt, but they don't think about the fallout.
Mhm.
The residual effects, how the relationships will never be the
The
same.
same. Mhm.
Yeah. Again, I have no issue particularly with the family, but one of theirs offended one of mine. So it made things awkward. It made things awkward. And they simply wanted to be there and they should have. The father is the one that stopped him from stabbing my sister. You know? He just happened to be riding by and was like, "What in the world?" Jumped out, pulled out his pistol, told him, "You stab again, I'm gonna kill you." His own father. So they weren't in agreement with that. But as we're showing up at the house every day, you know how us Black people do. We have fish one day and,
Mhm.
every day, and people come by with chicken and
Yes.
you're seeing all these people. And again, you're not angry at anyone but the offender. But the fact that you're a human being, your true emotions, I don't care what nobody say, people attached to that person, you
Yes.
do feel a type of way.
Mhm.
And that's just the honest truth. It
Yeah.
really is. And I really had to do some self-reflection because like they didn't do it. And not
Right.
only that, they
They
don't
don't condone
condone it.
it. Yes, that's the big part.
Yeah, and they weren't okay with it. And they would,
Mhm.
I won't say
I'm
justice
glad
heard
to
me.
hear that. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. So that feeling, so the point was, how did I feel? Walk me through it. I felt everything and nothing at the same time, if that makes any sense. Eh, I can tell you the worst feeling was the day we went to see her at the wake, and it was just a family viewing only. And my mom, my sister, and I walked up first. The children did not come to the wake because they were just trying to figure out, they were just trying to breathe. They were just trying to inhale and exhale. But
Mhm.
my mom, my sister, and of course other family members were there, but we were the first three they let up to see her. And my mother just collapsed on her child's chest. And
Yes.
my middle sister was, like, on her torso, and I'm at her feet.
Mm.
And I just my
Even.
body was almost like I was having a seat, like I couldn't even stop myself from shaking, and I cried and cried.
Mhm.
I felt helpless. I felt angry. I felt sad. I felt, abandoned. I felt
Mm.
lost. I was angry with God, because and again, you want me to be raw and honest, he beat her all the time. I always hoped it'd have been him and not her. You know what I mean? Like, these things people don't talk about, but if anybody gotta go, it need to be the monster, you know?
So you're
And so I was
probably questioning God, like, why did you let it
why
get this
her,
far?
not him? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah, so, um, I just I felt everything.
Yes.
And then afterwards, people eating chicken, after everybody came and we're at my sister's house and they're outside having crabs and laughing and talking. I stayed in my
Mhm.
sister's room the whole time. I would come out, peek out, check on my sister, check on my mom. And I went back in the room, was sitting on the bed because I didn't feel like ha ha. I
Right.
didn't want to, but I also, um, not that it's all about public image because it's not, but I also am a brand. I'm Allaina Maria. Like I said, I'm actor, singer, so I didn't want to be cutting up.
Right. Yes,
I'm
I
not
get
a
that.
normal cutter upper, if you will, but I hadn't felt the way I felt before ever. And like I said,
Yes.
all these twin faced people outside that look like the offender.
Mhm.
So I stayed in the room and just kind of wanted to make sure I don't know. I don't know what I wanted to make sure, but I just needed to make sure. I
You
don't know.
needed that time to yourself.
Yeah. So I felt everything. I felt
Mhm.
everything and nothing.
I think it's like you said, like, we don't talk about that fact that you're
Mhm.
hurting, you're in pain. You know how you're supposed to act, but at that moment, nothing matters except what you're going through and what you're feeling. And it's not selfish. And yeah, people will understand later, but you also knowing you have to hold it together, that's a lot for one person to manage.
Absolutely.
And
And
then, like, even what I said before, like, these people coming, yeah, they're sad, they're hurting, but that's your sister, right? Yeah, she helped you, she supported you, and you saw her as a pillar in the community and you loved her, but this is my sister right here. And
yeah,
that's a different type of connection and emotion that I think we
absolutely.
forget to acknowledge and honor as well.
Yeah. 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 It takes a lot out of you. Um and my concern with my mom is I wanted to make that's her first baby.
Mhm.
Before Yolanda's children, it was my mama and Yolanda. That's
Right.
it. So I wanted to make sure that I was holding her up. And then my sister, Shauna and Yolanda, they're closer in age. So they were
Pretty
click
tight.
tight. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And they look so much alike. So a lot of people, when they would look at, she would find people, even still to this day, they'll be staring at her because they're seeing Yolanda, and it
Mhm.
makes her, feel some type of way because she's like, I
Yeah.
feel so, but her and Yolanda they were best buddies.
Yeah.
I was baby sis. We were close. We were all close, but that was
Mhm.
her, her homegirl. So she is just
A wreck for
in
sure.
fisticuffs. She's just hysterical and going crazy. And then it's me who I feel exactly what they're feeling. But we all have different personalities. So it's me, Elena, trying to make sure I'm level headed. Okay, we got to get the funeral stuff. We got to do this. We got to do that.
Mhm.
Trying to stay here when all I want to do is,
Yes.
you know what I
Scream,
mean?
throw stuff. Yes.
But it wasn't about me. It wasn't I mean, it was a part of me, but it wasn't just about me. There's so many pieces to this puzzle. Like I said, people don't think about you kill someone, you don't think about that best friend who's been in their life since they were, 3. You
Mhm.
just, oh, the kids. No, there's someone, who also loves her. You know what
Right.
I mean? Or that favorite cousin or that uncle who used to take her and get ice cream. Like that
Mm.
thing, it reaches so far and wide when people die, it hurts. But when
Yes.
you're going to kill somebody, it, it's just like, for what? You know? And so now what? The light that you had in the world is now snuffed out. You no longer have access to her. And that's what I take peace in and joy in. She's somewhere that you're not.
Yes.
And I love that for her. I wish she could be with me, but
Mhm.
she's somewhere where the monster is not.
She's not hurting anymore.
Nope.
She's being taken care of.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And so are her children. There are
Mhm.
5 children, 2 are with me, 2 are with my other sister, and 1, he had a little baby, and, he
Aw.
has his girlfriend, yeah, little baby, which I'll be getting this week, I can't wait, that's my bum bum. Yeah, so we're holding up my sister's not here, but we got her right in her left arm held up here in the earth. Her children want for nothing, not a thing, they're well cared for, you know what I mean?
Good.
Yeah.
You mentioned God before. How did you get past that anger with God to a place where you're like, okay, God, I trust you again. Help me through this?
Well, I've been in a similar place before. My son would have been 18. Well, he'd be 19 this December. He
Okay.
passed at 6 months old,
Aw.
and but he was a micro preemie. No one did anything to him. He just was early. That was my first child, and I was sick about it, you know? And I remember I used to take arrows, invisible arrows, and shoot them to God so I could hit him in the heart so you could feel how I felt. And it took me years to be okay. And I sang on the praise team and in the choir and directed the choir and was a good girl. And I didn't smoke and I didn't drink. Well, all the things you think that make you good. And then when something bad happens to you, you're angry about it. You know, you're like,
Yeah.
God, but the crackhead has 82 kids. You gonna take my one? She's
Right.
gonna give them to the system. I'm gonna,
Yes.
So I was in a place of really hurt where I was angry with God before. Like I said, that was years removed from my sister, which was just a year and a half ago.
Mhm.
And I did a lot of God why, a lot of God why. But I also did a lot of my sister. Life wasn't kind to her either. You know,
Mhm.
it wasn't necessarily kind to her, even though she was good to it. It didn't return the favor. She
Yes.
lived in turmoil every single night. So when I took a retrospective look into her story, like I said, I take solace in that she's no longer in a place where the monster can have access to her. Her
Mhm.
soul can finally be at
Be at
peace.
rest. Yes.
Yeah. So was I angry? It would. I'll tell you a joke, but I'm gonna tell you no lie. Yes, I was
Mhm.
angry, but I don't know how to say it without sounding crazy. I miss my sister, but I would rather her be resting away from me than be living in turmoil with him.
I
You see what I'm
understand that.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's again where I hang my hat, and I can pop my collar and feel good about. She is not constantly tormented by the one she loved the most. She
Mhm.
deserved her soul deserved. She was dating him since she was 12. He killed her at 50. So that tells you how long.
How long
You
she was
see what I'm
in
saying?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just I know it sounds crazy, but I'd rather
Not
her
at
rest
all. That doesn't
than
sound crazy at
yeah.
all.
Yeah.
You
And
said one of the last things she said to you was that I'm so proud of you.
oh
Was
yeah.
that in a text message or
And
was
a
that a
text.
voice? So
Group chat.
do you still
Group chat.
have that text that you look
Oh
back at?
girl, yeah, of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Because
That
I
is such a
texted.
wonderful last thing to hear
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Especially after all she's meant and done it captures honestly who she is.
Absolutely. It really did. And I'm like, I'm doing my big one, y'all. I'm going. It was a big name artist. I can't say who because the movie isn't released, but it was a pretty big, eh, actor that I was
Yes.
attached to, and I'm so proud of you. I'm like, I'm feeling myself,
Yeah.
and then that was a part that I was angry about. I'll be honest, because she was my biggest champion and one of my first biggest gigs. You're gonna do this on this day?
Right.
Not that it was about me, because it wasn't about me. But
Mhm.
when you sit and go back and reanalyze everything, you just like, man, not that I want you to do it on any day. You
Right.
understand? But it's just, man, it's so hard to put into words. And I
Yeah.
just want to say humbly, I'm so proud of myself today because I haven't dropped a tear. It took me a long time to get to this place where I can talk so freely. And even though
Yeah.
I'm happy that she's okay, that I am not a blubbering, blundering mess.
Mhm.
So I had to acknowledge that. I am so proud of myself that I'm able to do this
Yes.
today because
I'm
I haven't
impressed too.
done
Wasn't sure how, this conversation would go. I have my
yeah,
tissues right here ready to
yeah,
go. What made you decide that you want to talk about this? Right? We don't know each other, but
right,
like I
right.
said, I'm very honored that you would come on here and talk about this with me. What is it about the situation that you want others to hear and know about?
Well, I wanted to talk to you so I can be honest. A
Mhm.
lot of times people are afraid to say how they really feel,
Right.
especially and not to harp on their family. Their family is fine, but people won't say, I feel some type of way because it was your people. You feel like something is wrong with you because you're angry. Or, and I want to come and talk about, being real about your feelings and your emotions. And it's okay to feel what you feel. Now, you're
Mhm.
responsible for your actions, but
Yes,
it's
very
okay
much.
to feel how you feel. And so, I'm not the only person who has had someone murdered or killed,
Mhm.
or be it hospital negligence, be it a car accident. Shoot, just cancer or just regular everyday. It hurts no less. You love
Right.
them, they leave here. It hurts. You know what I mean? And, you may be angry with the doctor because you felt they could have done more when the doctor really did all they could. But it's okay to feel like they should have done more because you love that person. So I wanted to come on, with to be real and honest, to tell people your feelings are okay and they are valid. They are valid because you love them. And it's okay to not be okay all the time.
Mhm.
And you grieve and run your race how you need to run your race. Don't buck up against other people who feel like, oh, they're good. If you need to cry, you still can cry. Certain movies come on. I'm just sitting there having a good time and the tears fall and I let them fall. And I wipe
Yes.
my face and I go do something else. But I don't be like, I got this. No, I don't. Not right now. I don't. This moment I'm weak.
Mhm.
This moment I'm broken. This moment I miss my sister and I want her presence. I can't have it, but it's okay to say I want my sister,
Mhm.
you know? So I wanted to do this to just come be raw, real, and to encourage and minister to others that grief hurts, right?
Mhm.
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts.
Have you been able to look at the in-laws and that side of the family? Are you still healing in that way, or have you been able to look at them and not see him but see them
Yeah,
and knowing that they
that was
loved her
fresh.
too?
That was fresh.
Yes. Okay.
I don't care, yeah, when it was fresh, it's like, "He just did this yesterday, y'all sitting here today.
Mhm.
Move." But at this point, again, I'm entitled to my feelings. But
Mhm.
at this point, again, not at 1 second of these people, I'm okay with it. That's what she get
Right.
they are not in cahoots. They don't agree. There is no so there's no need for me to feel any type of way about anybody else but the offender. It's just in
Mhm.
the moment, in the early stages, I just needed somewhere to put that,
Right.
all of that,
Yes.
all that. But now I don't think, my mom still talks to his dad to this day, you know?
Mhm.
The kids, my sister, the two that are in school, this is my sister in Jacksonville. The last time she came to Bunnell, she took them over there to their granddad. I mean, if I see any of them in the street, I'm like, "How you doing?" Like I said, when it was fresh, I didn't know what to do with my emotions. I didn't know who to love or who to hate,
Mhm.
but I don't think, that is dissipated,
Good.
that's dissipated by now. I don't care. Even if I see him on Facebook or something I like, I click like. I don't, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? There's no more anger there because I was able to kind of settle my spirit about it.
Yes.
But again, honestly, in the beginning, I was like, mm, mm.
Right.
That's just the raw truth,
Yeah.
It's just the raw truth of the
No, and
matter.
I appreciate your honesty. I agree with you. We don't talk about it enough. We think we have to put on a smile, we have to keep going and moving forward. But this is real. And
Oh,
like you
yeah.
said, you're not the only one, unfortunately, who deals with this in life. So I know they would appreciate what you have to say.
Oh, yeah, and, what people don't, talk about, they have the right to love their loved one even though they were wrong.
Mm,
You see what I'm
yes.
saying? They shouldn't be. You don't get to tell people how to love who they love. That's
Hmm.
still their loved one. That's still if
Yes.
they wanna go see him, that is their right.
Right.
He'll be judged by a jury of his peers, and whatever they decide, that will be the judgment on that. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
None of that brings my family back. So if they want to go and visit, talk to no, but they don't need to go. Yes, they can. People can do whatever they
Yeah,
can
that was
do,
their kin
whatever
as
they
well.
want to
Yeah.
do. And so that's another part of the healing that doesn't get talked about. People like to say what they should. What he You don't get to tell people how to love their family or
Mm,
friends. If they want to send him $20 to get some ramen noodles in his commissary, send him the $20.
right.
That has nothing to do with
Yeah.
me or my family. They get to love him right on.
Hmm.
You know, they get to love him right on.
Yeah,
You can
because
love
they're
a
dealing with their
monster.
own set of emotions and
Yeah,
probably guilt and questions that we don't necessarily know about either.
absolutely. I have some
Yeah.
family members I'm not the proudest of. You know, I love there are a couple monsters I love from behind bars.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? I
Right.
still love my family. I will never condone, you know, be okay with, support. You know, if I see the family grieving on their post, I would stay out of that. But I have to love. If you love them from where you are. So
Yes.
I had to get to that place too. People they can still love him. They can.
Mhm.
You know, people have free will. So
Yes.
that's another place people don't talk about either. Hmm.
Yeah. So you've shared why you wanted to talk about Yolanda
Hmm.
and her memory. So usually at the end of the show, I ask the guests to share, like, how would you inspire, encourage people to rise? And I feel like you've done a lot of that. What do you think Yolanda would say to our listeners? How do you think she would encourage people to rise?
She would definitely say, "Be true to yourself." That would be the first thing she'll say. Take care of yourself because she had already said she didn't know why she stayed, but she went and saved the world. So she would say, be true to yourself. Trust your gut. If it's time to go, go. Trust yourself. Listen to that inside voice and put yourself first. Focus on keeping yourself healthy, healed, and whole. Be good to yourself. And if you're good to yourself, that makes you a better person to be good to others. But when you're also broken, you're just spreading broken seeds. Take time to be good to yourself. I know that's what she would say. Listen to, don't stay if you have to go. Go if you have to go.
Thank you, Allaina Maria, for this conversation. Thank you for your heart, your honesty, and for sharing your love for your sister and for letting us get to know Yolanda. I am so deeply sorry for your loss and for your community's loss. From everything you shared, Yolanda sounds incredible. And like we talked about earlier, I'm glad that her legacy is living on and still touching people through the work she did and the love she gave. I will continue to pray for you and your family for comfort and for strength. There are so many ways I could close this episode. The takeaways, the moments that stayed with me, the questions that we could sit with. But today was so personal and so honest and sacred that I want to leave space for you to do your own reflecting. I encourage you to talk to someone about what you heard today. Share what you felt and share what you learned as well. To anyone who is listening, who is experiencing domestic violence or walking through any struggle that feels too heavy to carry, hear me when I say this. You are not alone. Please take the next step that leads you closer to safety, to peace, and to joy. To everyone listening today, thank you for being here with me, for holding this space, and for listening with your whole heart. Until next time, keep listening louder and discovering what connects us in ways we sometimes forget to notice. See ya, bye.